Geek Tank Radio. News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
Welcome, everyone. We are the Geek Patrol, and our microphones don't have a stun setting. Today's episode of Geek Tank Radio is brought to you by the Gotham City Scuba Gear Wholesale Warehouse.
We
I'm
said
really pounding that into the ground.
We said we'd give you a week before we spoiled everything.
If your timing is right, boy, you're going to be cashing in with this stuff. So, anyway,
Joe, you bringing that up just makes me want to talk about the Batman for another hour, but we can't do that.
Yeah, we've really,
as much as I would love to do that, we can't do that.
Anyway, welcome to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max behind the glass. And all right, Brandon, I will say this. I've watched Batman twice now.
Right.
I watched the Batman. It's even better the second time.
Yeah, because
have you seen it twice yet?
Yes, there are things that you were expecting now, so you can actually catch the other things that are behind that. And right. I feel like I still didn't catch everything.
No, I can't wait to get this thing on Blu-ray, freeze frame certain segments, and read all of the things on
It's
there.
been so long since I've actually bought physical media. I usually buy the digital media, and you don't really have the chapter jumps.
Right.
But I'm gonna be watching chapters on this in a loop. So I'm going, all right, what just happened here?
Right.
I'm so excited.
There was a gorilla in the background. When did that happen?
No, there's probably a ton of Easter eggs.
I wouldn't be a bit
stuff.
surprised if there's a gorilla in there somewhere.
So I can't wait. Well, we only got about 6 weeks, and then it's out on Blu-ray, which is
you're
great.
not going to wait long.
What I do love is the fact that the people who are excited about this keep bringing in more things. Like, they pointed out that the kid that we see in that gang that's attacking the guy on the subway,
right?
The kid with half of his face done.
That didn't look like he wanted to be there
right,
at all.
is the same kid who plays Tim Drake in the HBO Max Titans series.
Oh, gosh, I don't want to see Robin in this. Now you're just deflated.
No.
Okay.
You're not going to, but it's cool to see these nods and everything. So it's like, I'm just excited.
Okay.
I'm also excited about the fact that they did greenlight the Penguin series on HBO Max, which we will be getting next year.
And as long as Matt Reeves involved, he seems to have a good vision, and don't get carried away. We don't need 8 million spinoffs, but a few things to keep the universe going.
You're getting at least 2.
Okay.
But the Penguin has more to do with the rise of Oswald Cobblepot pre the movie.
Yeah. And
the other one was originally supposed to be a GCPD-based thing, but now it looks like it's going to be more Arkham-based.
Yeah. Yeah,
they're calling it kind of a horror show.
Okay.
Well, I will give Batman villains mad props for having depth.
Oh.
He's got a great rogues gallery.
It's not a guy walking down the street, got hit by a radioactive toilet seat, so now he's the plunger man.
No. If you get hit by a toilet seat, you become a Reaper. Haven't you ever seen that like me?
I was trying to go one notch above that.
Yeah.
Right.
But I love the depth of character.
Right.
And I also like the fact that DC has never shied away from giving a villain a good motivation.
That's true.
Well, that's what,
exactly. I know I'm going to catch flack for this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. There's something about DC villains where you can give them a sympathetic backstory and not change them. It seems like every time you have a Marvel villain who is an awesome villain, as soon as they give them a sympathetic backstory, some writer comes along and wants to turn hero. Now,
correct.
Like Magneto, right?
Right, Magneto. Morbius. Morbius wasn't a hero in the beginning.
No.
Venom wasn't a hero. No. Now they tried to turn him into the lethal protector and all that stuff. You ruin your heroes by turning their rogues into better heroes than they were.
The Punisher was a villain.
Yes, he was.
I mean, he's still pretty rotten anyway, but yeah, that is interesting.
You have your true villain and you have your anti-hero.
Right.
The Punisher falls more in the anti-hero category, but I will look at Morbius was truly born to be a Spider-Man antagonist.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so was the Punisher. He was there to kill Spider-Man.
That's true. And Kraven the Hunter and several other characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the Batman, mostly what I'm watching now is I want it to make a lot of money because I think it should be rewarded because it is outstanding, and I just don't want to lose the tone or the, I don't know how many sequels are in the pipeline, Brandon, but I would think at least another one. And have they worked things out? Because I heard there was some drama between Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson as far as the way they wanted to work together, but have they worked that out?
They seem to be fine at this point.
I hope so.
There were some issues going in, but Robert Pattinson has basically said that he'll play Batman for as long as they'll have him.
Oh, that's what I want to hear. I
always love when you have an actor who goes, dude, I get to be this character. Sign me up for however long.
Yeah. I will be this character until you drag me out of the suit.
The saddest part of this is that I will never get to see Robert Pattinson's Batman and Henry Cavill's Superman together, which, based on their personal history, I want to see.
Oh, that is interesting. Awesome. A couple of Brits, man. All right. Well, anyway, hats off. We really could turn this into the Batman show, but we can't. We got too much other stuff. Duty calls. We're going to shift gears. We're going to talk about Marvel, Obi Wan Kenobi, and then actually, Allan has got a science store invading spiders. Mm-hmm. You're listening to Geek Tank Radio here on News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. We'll be right back.
Geek Tank Radio.
Use your aggressive feelings, boy. Let the hate flow through you.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
Isn't that what your grade school tutors taught you, Allan? That explains a lot, man.
Hey, we let the hate flow through us at a different iteration of this show, and it didn't work out for us very well.
I guess not.
Anyway, that's why we came back to Geek Tank.
Good point. Anyway, welcome back to Geek Tank Radio. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max behind the glass, always bringing us these great rejoinders, bound to spark controversy and conversation.
According to my plan.
Exactly. So we've talked about Batman, which we honestly, Brandon and I could have our own podcast about Batman, but we really need to move along.
I know we need to move along, but I do want to throw out one question to you and Allan, and Max can even jump in on this one.
Okay.
If you got to choose, which villain would you like to see him go up? Would you like to see him go up against next?
Well, I mean, we're going to get the Joker, right? I mean,
no. Matt Reeves has already said that just because you saw him in Arkham does not mean he's going to be using him as a villain in one of the movies.
Oh, okay. I want a good Two-Face. I feel like we didn't get the Two-Face we deserved in the Christopher Nolan, and then they killed him right off. Two-Face can be very complex, and Matt Reeves likes to lean into the psychological, so a guy with a split personality might be very interesting. So that would be my vote.
Did you say Scarface?
I've always loved Scarface, but I feel like in live action we're never. I mean, I know they did it in the Gotham show, right, Brandon? But it just seems like that doesn't work in live action.
I would really like to see Scarface done well, but in terms of psychological, I would really love to see Scarecrow again because I like the potential psychological damage a character like him could deal to Batman. Like in The Long Halloween when he had that segment where he mistake Catwoman for walking through the alleys all damaged and afraid. I love that sort of side of Batman.
You've always liked the Scarecrow, I've noticed.
I have to agree with Max on that. I think Scarecrow would be great, especially in this version of Gotham City, because
less techie, more pharmaceutical, more psychological.
This is the one thing I'm going to say as a complete criticism of the Christopher Nolan movies. I think they didn't do any of the villains justice, not even the Joker.
No.
Yeah, because he wasn't the Joker. He was anarchy.
He was anarchy in clown makeup.
And now that you mentioned, because Scarecrow did a great job in Batman Begins, but really they didn't dive into.
I think Cillian Murphy did. Actually, everybody they cast in those movies did an amazing job with the character they had. I just don't think the writing showed those villains for who they could have been. And I think Matt Reeves could do an amazing job with Scarecrow.
I got to agree with you. All the shadows and everything that are in that movie and the look of Gotham. So
all the chiaroscuro going on is fabulous. I'm going to go with a little weirder one.
You're going to go Hugo Strange on me, aren't you?
Oh, I like him. He's good too. Yeah.
I just figured you'd do it because they could cast you.
That's true. Or I could pick a bad 60s villain that I could also play.
You're going to play Egghead, huh?
Yes. I'm honestly, I'm 49-51 between those two. And I'll tell you why.
Egghead.
Yes.
Turn his mic off, Max.
No.
Come on.
Let me tell you why.
Okay.
Because just like I find your Batman up until this movie to be clownish and overblown.
Okay.
Which he has been. He admitted his superpowers being rich. I'm happy. All right, but this time you actually got a film noir Batman. You actually got one that had to do, acting, solve some problems, kick a little fanny, and we got a balanced Batman, a mortal Batman this time. Okay, I'm very happy about that. All right, so let's take a characters like Strange or Egghead, which could give him an intellectual run. I would like to see the treatment.
Egghead. I just cannot take. I can take Hugo Strange. He's a great villain. How is Egghead?
But Egghead was a misused character for a cheesy TV show. But picture a character like Egghead intellectually taking on the Batman. You're
every
being
time you
all
say
excited.
the word, I get,
Now you're being all excited about a guy running around in leather undies.
I mean, look what the animated series was able to do with corny 1960s Mr. Freeze.
Okay,
imagine that's
great.
been with Egghead.
The name alone
no one believes
is
in
All right, but
asshole.
that could be the diversive nickname Batman gives him, or whatever you want. I'm looking at the intellectual aspect of a character that would take on the world's greatest detective. Sherlock had a Moriarty. Batman, so far, intellectually,
the Riddler held up pretty well.
I was going until this movie.
Yeah,
Show me the great intellect of Batman up until this final movie.
I don't know. I could go with you on Hugo Strange because he's just weird anyway. And
He is.
And he's smart, but he's nuts too. So
what could a good director and a good actor do with Vincent Price's crazy character?
Yeah, see, Brandon, I can
I'm
never
just
take
thinking out
Allan
of the
too
box.
serious. I always think he's got,
Well,
is this passive aggressive, Allan?
No.
Egghead.
This is literally
I don't think you really believe this.
This is literally how writers work. They get inspired by what could be corny and goofy ideas, and they can see the potential inside these characters if you put them in a serious situation. You never have to call him Egghead anywhere in the movie.
Now you guys got me curious about how can you do a Mad Hatter well?
Yes.
Oh, gosh, I hate him too. So.
But that's the point, Joe. That's the
They're
point.
just goofy villains.
All right,
Well,
let's think outside of the box. We've already overdone all the grade A ones.
So you don't want to just rehash all the same.
Here's
Please,
the thing about Mad
spare
Hatter.
me another
though.
freaking Joker.
Okay.
Here's the thing about Mad Hatter. We're already seeing in practice and also in various other shows people using AI technology in order to control people's minds. And that was something Mad Hatter was doing, 30, 40 years ago.
Yes.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
So
See, this is the point. Let's find some of these B and C level characters that were throwaway characters, like, Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
And let's apply a little talent, care, if you wish, and let's make it a challenge.
Okay, I will say this for you. You could have the best characters in the world, but if they're badly written, you've wasted them. You could have Egghead, and if you write him well, he could, or Mad Hatter, be compelling. I guess it's all in the way you write it.
You don't want him to be a rotten egg.
Oh,
okay, enough. So somehow we wind up still talking about Batman all
and
day.
I still haven't even told you what mine was.
for this conversation.
Oh, what
because
was yours?
we're
Okay, well,
something.
I'm kind of siding with the internet these days on this one. I would love for this destruction of Gotham that we got in this movie to reveal the Court of Owls.
Oh, because they got flooded out.
And then you can use Talon as the physical, foil to Batman. While they are, we already hit on the corruption of Gotham.
Right.
Who do you we want, and if you want to expand on the Riddler Joker friendship, who do you think the Joker's going to end up protecting the Riddler from? Who do you think's coming after him after he's managed to take out the people that they've had their hands on, who have been their active politicians and crime lords? The Court of Owls had their hands in all of that.
It seems like that would be a one for movie 3, right? Because that's going to be epic and have to encompass all of Gotham City, right? So
well, yeah. Well, I mean,
so did sinking half of Gotham.
Yeah,
but that's why you introduce Talon in this one. Talon and maybe Firefly.
Yeah,
there's an interesting addition to the lineup.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, you think about a lot of these characters that
They just
writers
don't-
in the past did not take full.
That's a good point. So, and that's
Speaking
the
of
thing.
characters that writers don't take advantage of, I mean, just to switch gears, we've got someone who the writers have always kind of dropped the ball with coming out, getting his own movie here from Sony here in a couple months.
Oh, okay.
Or it's not even a couple months. It's like
it's
less
like
than a
3
month
weeks,
at this
dude.
point. Oh, my God.
Did we tease that? I guess we're going to get to it. We'll talk about it.
Well, yeah, I mean, you said we were going to talk Marvel.
Let's talk Marvel.
I always
Marvel.
just think of Disney Marvel these days. But so Morbius, Brandon, are you excited? Because
As a Morbius fan, I am curious.
I'm more curious. I could take it or leave it. If it's not, I'm not emotionally invested.
I was
which is
not.
probably
I was
good.
not
Yeah.
excited about Venom, and then I went and saw Venom and loved it.
It was a good.
And
movie.
of course, people tell me I'm crazy for loving Venom, but I not only love Venom, but I loved Venom too.
Yeah.
So I really want to see more of what Sony's going to do with these other characters, especially when you have Michael Keaton showing up as the Vulture, who we saw who we saw in Homecoming.
Yeah, I wondered about that because so is Morbius an anti-hero or is he? Because I honestly have
Yeah.
only read a little bit of him when I was a kid. So
He was a villain by necessity until such time as he became an anti-hero.
okay. Well, I mean, Jared Leto's good. It's when he's not playing the Joker.
I was gonna say that's subjective. It really depends on what the role is.
It depends what they give him. So okay.
I blame the writers.
All right. Well, that's what I think. I think we're
blame
gonna
the
we're gonna steer into more discussion about Marvel, and of course we can't overlook Obi Wan Kenobi at least weighing in on the trailer.
Yeah.
And of course, and Allan, we gotta somehow get to your Spider invasion.
We will.
We got a lot to do. You're listening to Geek Tank Radio here on News Talk 98.9 The Roar Memphis. We'll be right back.
Geek Tank Radio.
I realized at that time I was born of two fathers, Elias and Mega Weapon.
News Talk 98.9 The Roar of Memphis.
All right, Max.
All
That
right,
is
all right.
as deep a cut as you're ever going to get, but
Okay,
that was good.
I'm gonna have to say that with these rejoiners, you're gonna have to start muting Joe's mic because my headphones just exploded with your giggling.
Just watch MST3K, and that was oh my gosh, Elias and Mega Weapon. That is a deep cut.
There you go.
Anyway, welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody.
I hate derailing you again, Joe, but have you watched the season premiere of MST3K yet?
No, I'm going to get the Gizmoplex, and hang on, I'll tell you about it in a second. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmsted and Allan Gilbreth, and our buddy Max behind the glass, doing his duty very well. We have news about that's coming out. I don't want to tease it too much, Brandon, but our buddy Joel Hodgson,
Right.
the creator of Mystery Science Theater 3000, they launched the Gizmoplex, and we may be talking to Joel in the near future.
Sounds
so let's
like a
not
plan,
give it away.
sir.
As a matter of fact, if you ever
I think
want
you
to go,
just gave it away.
well, if you ever want to go listen to any of our past shows, our very first episode of Geek Tank Radio here at News Talk 98.9 The Roar of Memphis, we had Joel Hodgson on along with Wayne White.
Yep.
I will say this: we had a few audio issues. It's good. The interview is awesome. It's just the connection was a little bit dicey. So, but it sounds great. So if you want to hear about Joel Hodgson,
I mean, not everybody has a great phone service, and sometimes things go out.
It was still a fascinating conversation. It was bonus because it was like a 45-minute discussion, so you get a big discussion. But Brandon, not to derail because once again the show's halfway over and all we've done is talk about Batman and a little bit about Morbius.
And it's not Bat Tank Radio.
Yeah,
it is too, Max.
Yeah, but what we were talking
making
about
the new logos.
We were talking about Morbius, which was somehow we're glossing over.
Like I said, I'm a fan of the character, so I'm really interested in what they pull off. None of the trailers have really gotten me going, ooh, oh my God.
Yeah.
But
That's
I mean,
the
remember,
thing, the trailers look okay.
The Batman trailers weren't doing that for me either until the one where they showed the funeral scene. And then you see actual acting going on, and I was like, all right, I'm all in. And I'm glad I was.
Once again, Brandon's steering back to Batman.
Here's the thing about Morbius is that and I've mentioned before, and I mentioned earlier today, there's a problem where Marvel takes what could have been amazing villains, gives them a sympathetic backstory, and then you've got a writer who comes along a couple years later and decides, well, we're going to go ahead and turn them into a hero or an anti-hero or a dark hero instead of being a full-on villain. And it's like, it's something that we've heard about the Marvel films enough times. It's like Thanos, but this villain that's fought in the movie itself, that guy was kind of boring. He might as well have been made, out of Play-Doh and just put in front of there for the Hulk to hit. I
don't you think they're going to make him kind of heroic? Because
no, they will.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is, Morbius is one of those characters that was well on his way to being an amazing Spider-Man antagonist, and he played the role well enough, and then they realized he would fit in better with the supernatural heroes of the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, and he started off as, I thought they said he was a one-off character. They threw him in there again back in the comics, and then eventually got so popular, like you said.
I mean, there's so many characters, though, nowadays that, really it's like people are like going, this is my favorite character. And it's like, do you know that Harley Quinn was only supposed to be in one episode of the animated series? Yeah. But they fell in love with Arlene Sorkin.
Right.
So they kept her there to do the voice.
Yep.
And they expanded. And Paul Dini's original designs for her were actually looked more like Donna Reed than they did like, a basic Harley Quinn.
Right.
Well, we've got that same stuff right now, though, with Morbius, is that Morbius actually kind of looks like Morbius is supposed to.
It looks cool. Yeah.
They took pretty boy Jared Leto and they give him the bat nose and the crinkled face, which even in the comics they kind of steered away from that. Like in the mid-90s, they tried to make him, he was
prettier.
He was pretty. He had the long flowing hair and the very, stark white skin.
He was not
but he
pretty
didn't
to
have,
start with.
No, not even remotely.
He looked like a Mexican small-tailed bat. I mean, he had the whole face and the nose.
Yeah, he did look like a bat.
If you go
and the ragged teeth, he didn't have fangs.
No,
I mean, he's got a mouth. He's got a mouthful of choppers. Now, I did like the fact that he doesn't look all Van Helsinged.
Right.
He doesn't look all pretty.
Yeah.
And they've got an actor that can play not pretty.
If you give Jared Leto the right material, I mean, you give him material, he's going to take it as far as you need him to take it. He needs the right
direction, though.
But he has to be reined in. He was not reined. I'm going to get in trouble with the Snyder boys and the Ayer boys, but he did not have what he needed to make Suicide Squad's Joker even remotely
interesting.
Yeah, that was hard to watch.
It was.
Yeah.
I equate, as much as I love the gangster criminal aspect of the Joker, that's one of my favorite things about him in the comics. Nobody has hit him right in any of those things. But Jared Leto, he does what he does. If you go and watch anything he's in, you can tell where he's got a strong director. And I think here in Morbius, he does.
Okay.
I think he has a very strong director, and I can't wait to see what they do with him. I'm not going to get my hopes up too far because, again, it's Sony.
I was about to say, you got to watch
Sony
out.
hasn't shown me who the villain is.
Right.
And I have hung my hat on that hill, so to speak. Yeah, not showing me the villain, I got a problem. Right. Two, the bunch of suits behind this are not renowned for producing the best possible quality.
Yeah.
True.
So those are my two concerns.
Yeah, Sony's not. They don't have a stellar track record, and I mean they've done some great work.
They have occasionally nailed something pretty good, but they've given us some movies that have they still hold up. You'll flip on them and you'll stay on them when you see them on broadcast TV. But
right,
yeah.
I'm just kind of looking at this. This is not. I'm just really hoping this is not one where Brandon and I sit down and watch this and go, can they give this to Fig yet? Which happens.
Right,
which does.
right.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, hey.
So we're very guardedly, cautiously optimistic.
But
it is nice to see a B-level character.
Well, it's
get some attention.
It's a very telling situation where a character that I actually, as a Midnight Suns fan, I love Morbius.
Right.
Yeah, I loved Morbius and Ghost Rider and all the Darkhold stuff and all that stuff. But then you look at this movie, and I'm less excited for this movie than I am for the Kraven movie that's coming. Mm. And they keep adding more to the Kraven movie, and I'm just sitting there going, yes. And that's another Spider-Man villain who never really became a hero. He stayed an antagonist through his entire run. I can't wait to see, it's like, because we already know that they're bringing in the Foreigner to be a foil for him, and I'm going, that's a deep cut.
Yeah, I mean it's. His goofy 70s outfit is kind of distracting, but well, hey guys, we still got a lot to get to. Let's at least tease what you're going to discuss when you come back, Alan. So what's this invasion of spiders?
Well, we got to talk about a little critter wars
little
over
science.
Here. We have, I feel it. I feel it incumbent upon me to let you know what is going to invade this spring.
Okay, here in the Mid-South, our listeners up north going to get
East Coast.
Here within a couple weeks, isn't it?
Like just a few weeks away.
Okay.
They could be joining us.
All right. What are they?
Spiders.
Spiders.
All right.
Lots of spiders, Joe.
Giant spiders.
Big
spiders.
And
big spiders with
poisonous,
parachutes.
no doubt. Deadly. Well, they probably love it here, and if they like lots of humidity and lots of heat.
Well, they do.
Almost jungle conditions.
And they're going to get Max all excited because they're like Japanese.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I mean, it's like kudzu, I hope. That did not prove out.
In a way.
It's very invasive and can cause you lots of trouble.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so that's what we do here at Geek Tank Radio. We give you the science fiction, the superheroes, but also real science.
We invade you and are very.
I want to talk. Let's see. Two things I want to talk about. I want to talk about Turning Red, and I want to talk about Obi Wan.
Okay.
So I got a couple of good.
We
media
need another hour, Joe.
Yeah. All right. So it's going to be a little.
We're going to cram them in as fast as we can.
So okay. And yeah, the Obi Wan trailer had some great writing in it. They had one of my favorite quotes that I've heard in this Turning Red. Did we even? Okay. We got a lot to do. Let's be more efficient with our time when we.
So we're going to talk about Batman when we get back.
You're listening to Geek Tank Radio here on News Talk 98.9 The Roar of Memphis. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Geek Tank Radio.
People of Earth, I am Lur, conqueror of your planet. Q screams. You will now remove your skulls and play dodgeball with them for my amusement.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
Can't say I haven't seen that, Alan. That's anyway,
it doesn't sound
disturbing
unreasonable to me.
Yeah, he's in charge. So anyway, welcome back to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmsted and Allan Gilbreth and our buddy Max behind the glass. And once again, Batman dominated the show against we didn't mean to, but we've got a lot to get to, you guys. So, Alan, can you
let's do
maybe an abbreviated thing with your spider invasion?
Yeah, let's give we did a little quick shout out for Morbius and Sony.
Yeah.
Let's say hello to our friends over at Pixar. They've got another movie out rolling right now. Turning Red. If you haven't seen this one,
it's the story of Allan if he had grown up as a little girl. I kid you not.
Thanks for that image. So okay, that's reason enough for me.
The problem is now Joe's watching, imagining you running through the fields in a sundress.
This is a giant red panda. Really cute film. Pixar once again is really good at topical. Really good at casting. My favorite, our perpetual favorite, James Hong. If James Hong's in the movie,
that's why you
have
mentioned
to like
this.
it.
James Hong is Alan's. Yeah, exactly.
Gotta like James. He's been around forever. He's in everything.
Okay,
cool.
So, I'll give it a look. I'll give it a watch because they did make Cars. They made a lot of great stories in Pixar and Inside Out, which is awesome.
Well, that is the reason I'm picking on Joe on this one, because this one is going to be right down that track with a little, little anamorphing.
It's adding a little more happy frivolity.
We watch it and then weigh in because we don't want to eat up too much time on speculation.
All right, so that's everybody's homework at home too. Especially if you got Disney Plus, it's on there. Check it out, and then we're going to spoil it heartily next week.
Absolutely.
While we have our buddies Danny Chamberlain and Eric Groffer, I believe, are supposed to be back next week too.
Okay, yeah, real quick, just a PSA. We are going to be, as far as the plan goes now, you guys, we're going to be at Mid-South Con, which is March 25th through 27th. We'll be there on the 26th broadcasting live, doing Geek Tank Radio Live. So we hope you'll see us there and, join us on the air because it's going to be a live show. So
it's going to be a blast. Join us at the convention.
Absolutely.
Okay. So,
all right. Now, Joe, I get to tell you giant spiders are expected to drop from the sky all across the East Coast this spring.
Okay, so
Hail science!
No,
he's been waiting. Hey, so what do you mean drop from the sky? Is that their MO? They just like to float down from
all right,
I'm guessing drop down from trees,
all
right?
Well, it showed up in Georgia
They
a few
float?
years ago, and it is called the Gioro Spider.
Okay.
The Gioro Spider is of Max. Do you know where it name came from? No.
I'm guessing Japan.
Joro Gumo,
Yeah, Kumo is it's a variation of the term kumo, which is spider.
which is also or a shape-shifting woman that turns into a spider before she eats you.
How fun.
There you go.
Wow.
That sounds operatic.
It is. Oh my
Ned
gosh.
Canny
you
would
think
want
so.
to know about that.
All right. Well, all right. These are not small.
Bow, chicka, bow, wow.
These are like the size of our typical garden spider, which is about 3 inches body-wise.
Okay.
Leg-wise, they could probably hold a cup.
Yeah, they
a
look
coffee
pretty
cup.
big, Alan. You showed us pictures of these babies, so
Now, first off, as far as humans go, they are fundamentally harmless.
well,
They do
you
not
know,
have big fangs. They're not biting
That-
people.
that'll-
Alan, that's a relative term. If one of those in your face while you're driving a car, it's not going to be harmless.
Joe's
You're gonna-
climbing a tree, right?
Actually,
then.
the truth of the matter is, I know a lot of people that it doesn't matter how harmless that spider is. If it lands anywhere near their house, they may burn down their property.
They will. 'Cause
Exactly.
To get
These
rid of
are
it.
some pretty big spiders. And they do a lot of what's called ballooning.
So they're gentle giants. What is ballooning? Because that
All right.
seems like they would
Okay,
puff up.
That's
right?
where they take their web and basically make a parachute, jump off your roof, and like float on the wind for miles.
Right. They put.
We've seen that. They just float along.
Yeah.
You'll be sitting in your backyard and you'll see a little spider just kind of in the air go trotting by. What he has is feet and feet and feet of silk rubbed out behind him like a kite.
It's like a kite,
And
or
he's
it's like
just ballooning along.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. There's going to be a lot more of them.
so
now-
that's what they like to do. They like to drop down and just float along.
They're
So-
big into the whole ballooning.
So basically, what you're saying is that when people are out there mowing their lawn during the time these things are supposed to, if you start hearing "Flight of the Valkyries,"
There you go.
Go
Max.
inside.
Yeah.
That-
Yeah.
Again, now they are helpful in the fact that they eat lots of, pest insects. So, they're good at that. They're not harmful to humans.
do they eat booth barnacles? Because I might keep some.
Yeah, keep 'em in the
Well,
booth.
I tell you what, if you got one in a box and just hand it to them.
Okay, but Alan, where did these things come from? Why are they suddenly showing up?
Well,
Did they-
due to imports from Japan that arrived somewhere in the southern Georgia area 2 or 3 years ago, congratulations, now we have Gioro spiders.
It's like kudzu.
Kinda
But
like
kudzu was
kudzu or-
purposeful. This sounds like it's accidental.
No, this was not purposeful. This was
Right.
like, oh, geez, where did these things come from? And they had to backtrack it to shipments from Japan.
Okay, so they're not going to want to travel north. They would not like Minnesota or something.
They're from not the southern tip of Japan. They're from.
Oh, so
like,
they can handle anything.
Oh yeah, they could handle our weather easily.
Oh, great.
So,
Okay.
yes, Joe, just what you're so excited about.
We'll be
And then
keeping
we'll-
an eye on
I-
that.
And then
Joe
we're
gets
gonna
rid of
shift
he
gears
gets
and-
rid of the squirrels. Now he's gonna have spiders.
Well, now let's go talk about Obi Wan walking around in a planet full of water.
Boy, that was a hard left turn. So, okay.
Well,
Water, he's on a desert planet. Well,
Well,
it
he
used to
was.
be
it's the
underwater.
Dune Sea.
Right.
He was, and then he's on someplace else.
Yeah.
Well, can I don't want to run out of time, but I just want to say one thing because I saw the Obi Wan Kenobi trailer, and it was one of the most creative lines I ever heard. They're talking about how to track the
Yes.
Jedi, and they said their compassion leaves a trail.
It does.
That was a great
I like
sentence.
that.
I love that description. Very cool.
Everything the Inquisitor says during the Grand Inquisitor says in that trailer is just like it grips you. I was like, I had chills.
It really is. It looks
But
cool.
but then we had one of our friends. As he tells me, I'm confused. It's like, well, how are you confused? He goes, well, I know he's trying to protect Luke, right? And I know that the Inquisitors are hunting the Jedi, right?
Right.
And he goes, well, what's the plot? What's the narrative going forward? I was like, that's not enough.
You just described the whole thing. Yeah.
I mean, and it's like, guys, it's a teaser. I'm sure that just before the show drops, they're going to drop us another trailer that's going to tell us everything we didn't want to know already.
yeah, Lord of the Rings made 3 movies with less motivation. They had, basically get a ring and throw it in a volcano.
Yeah,
Right,
throw,
right.
throw the
I mean-
ring back in the pond.
Right. But
of-
this looks interesting, and Ewan McGregor is just everybody loves him, and
And can we just talk about how cute it is to see little Luke on the hut.
Oh,
like
pod
it's a
racing.
Pod racing. Yeah,
that was hilarious with the little.
He's got the little goggles
on
and the helmet, and I'm just going. It's like he's like little Andy.
Now I'm giving them mad. All right, I'm giving the Figgyverse some serious matter and going back and finding everybody they can find from everything ever made and putting them back in their roles.
Yeah.
Yes.
The only disappointing is we got to wait till May for this thing. That's the big thing.
Well, May 25th
is not that far away.
It's 2
Joe.
months away, Joe.
That's true. It feels like a long time when you're looking forward to
Joe,
something.
you were talking about something that was 2 months away, and I went, no, dude, it's in 3 weeks.
No, that was me. But
that was you. Okay. Well, it's one of you guys over there.
See, this show was too short for you to be losing your memory.
It is.
Well, just when DC gives us something really awesome with the Batman, then all of a sudden Marvel answers right back, or I should say Disney answers right back with all this good stuff.
What a great time
when
to
they
be a
fight
geek.
it out, we benefit. But unfortunately, we will never be able to make the clock go slower. So we're out of time, you guys. Another great episode of Geek Tank Radio, but it's time to get out of here. So until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
I'm Allan Gilbreth.
I'm Maximilian.
And I am Brandon Olmstead, challenging you to find a way for us to stay on the air. Longer.